And we got the turkeys hanging out on one of their favorite places here. They actually sit there and then they look through our living room window and stare at us. Hey guys. We're hoping one is male and one is female. We hope. We hope. They're about I think almost 4 months old right now, to tell you the truth, so they're looking pretty good and they are awesome to have on the homestead. Much cooler than chickens. Sorry, chicken people. We are gonna do a tour of my raised bed tiered garden. 6 years ago when we moved to the farm, this raised bed tiered garden was here, but nothing was in it but mint. It was covered in mint. So everything you see planted here, besides the stray mint, I've planted over time. So let's go ahead and check out some of these flowers and plants, and then we'll talk about it. I'm in the middle of our tiered garden, so there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 levels here, which is pretty nice. Actually, I guess kind of 5. In the middle there's a small little bump. What is cool about this garden is that I planted this 100%, and I'm pretty proud of that. And a lot of it, sorry, I'm just looking at all the bees. There are, I mean, dozens of bees right now that are going off on this Hosta. So this is my pollinator garden. I will admit we had a baby this year in May. My wife had a baby. I didn't. She did all the work. We have a vegetable garden going this year. It's probably my worst veggie garden in several years. Partially because we had the baby coming and, you know, I couldn't focus on it. I had to focus on the family, which is way more important. But this is probably the best that my flower garden has ever been, and I'm pretty proud of it. And it was inexpensive. It was inexpensive because I got probably a third of these plants for free. I got them from friends that were thinning out their garden. A lot of these hostas you saw, which are on the bottom tier, which gets a lot of shade, those were all mainly free from a friend who had a rental property, and she was doing different landscaping, and I was able to get all of those hostas for free. I just had to go dig them up. These gladiolus were free. Some of the lilies were free. There's a Rosa Sharon that's growing back there that was just wild sowed. We have some Rosa Sharon on a neighbor's property, and they ended up here. I've also taken cuttings of some other plants. There's also some edible plants in here. Hostas are edible. They're actually grown in Asia, not just as an ornamental, but as a food crop. I will admit I haven't tried it yet. I was going to try it this year, and the best time to try it is early May. That's when the baby came, and it just didn't happen. So maybe next year. I also have some, I guess, rhubarb here that I've transplanted from another garden. I have 3 rhubarb plants here. I have a bunch of strawberries in one bed. What else do we have that's edible? Oh, up top we have some blueberry plants that are going. So I'll show you those. We also have some native plants. We have some ferns that I actually just dug up from our creek bed about 100 feet that way. Those ferns you can't see as much with the hostas, but when the hostas die back, the ferns will be there, so you get a little year-round enjoyment of those ferns. I also got an herb garden, so I'm going to show you the herb garden and then what is yet to come in my raised bed that I'm pretty proud of. So let's keep on the tour. So here is one of my rhubarb plants. Hopefully next year I can harvest it. I had to transplant it, so it's really not growing too great. I mean, it's still here, so hopefully next year I can do that. Here's also strawberry plants, and there are strawberry plants that are all up in this bed in the understory. What else do we have that's edible? And there's other plants that are in here, but they've already bloomed. So this here, I believe, where iris is. And then we had daffodils that have already bloomed and died. Right here by Turkey 1 is a blueberry bush. This is that self-planted hosta, or sorry, not hosta, Rosa Sharon in the middle with the hosta that's blooming near it. There's another blueberry plant. What else do we got? Here's some natives in North Carolina. That's a snowball bush. In that corner, you can't really see it, but there's a flaming azalea that's already bloomed. Lots of lilies. There's some roses, blazing stars back there. And what I really like is that this is my pollinator garden. There's bees in here. There's native bees in here. There's honeybees for my hives. There's hummingbirds that use this every day. There's lots of insects that come here right now to pollinate. Right now we are in my little herb garden. So let me give you a tour of the herb garden. And it needs to be harvested. Okay, so here we have lemon balm. That really has taken over. I really need to thin out lemon balm. I did give some away to friends, which is always great, but I need to thin this out. There's lemon balm. There's a little bit of rosemary, I believe, right there. But the lemon balm has really taken over. We have oregano that we use all the time. I need to harvest some of that. Parsley. There's some lavender right here. Basil. We have some tulsi up there, I believe. You can't really see it, but we have some thyme over there. We got some cone flowers that are growing. So some of this is edible, some of it is my pollinator garden. Over here, I'm going to talk about this section. Now, if you see, about 2/3 of it, I think, looks pretty great. And then we get this section, which has some work to do. So let's talk about the last section and what I'm doing here. So I'm sitting on the far section of our raised bed. Hopefully you can see it, our tiered garden for mainly pollinators, but we also have our herbs growing. Some edibles, like I said, strawberries, blueberries thrown in there, hostas, a few more things thrown in there, but especially the herbs. Now, oh, turkeys are hanging out. Hey, turks. Turks. Now, this last third is kind of a work in progress. What you probably see right behind me are several tomato plants. They're doing okay, actually. I need to harvest some maters here in a minute. I don't have them staked up. I should. I actually have the stakes right up there. Haven't done it yet. My plan is, my ultimate plan is there's going to be a water feature from that top tier, a waterfall that's going to go down into that garden bed, and then it's going to have another waterfall that's going to go into this garden bed. I don't have a lake or pond on our property. We have a small creek. But since I don't have a lake or pond, at least I'd like a little water feature. And it's right by our bedroom and our deck. I think it would be nice. And we'll have some fish in there and some frogs and tadpoles and probably some American toads would start hanging out there more. And my whole family likes frogs and tadpoles, so why not, right? So the reason I don't have anything permanent planted here, turkey, and turkeys, turkey, I'm trying to make a video, turkeys. The reason I have crops here is that I don't want to plant anything that's going to live long term because I want to make that water feature. And right where I'm sitting, if you can see this grassy, weedy area is not mulched. That's on purpose as well. It's another work in progress. My plan is this area that I'm sitting at is going to be a nice little patio, like a rock patio. It's not going to be that big. It's going to go to that first or that second tier. It's really not going to be that big, just big enough for a table or a hammock, or maybe one day a hot tub. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? A hot tub. So it's a work in progress. Lots of things on the farm are a work in progress for sure. This fence behind me, if you've noticed the fence, I built that fence last fall. That was one of my big projects. And it definitely took me a while. I didn't have a lot of time. I had to do it when I could. But that fence was a crucial first step into making my garden better, because that fence keeps out the horses, the pigs, our bigger dog. It doesn't keep out turkeys, obviously. We used to have goats. We are not goat people. Not right now, maybe not ever again. The goats kept getting out, and it just wasn't fun. And you know what? I like my flowers more than I like my goats. So we traded those goats for a donkey. But that fence, this fence was a crucial first step. And then I worked on this, our side deck behind me. And then I want to work on the waterfall. I want to work on the patio. So this is a work in progress. As I'm walking, hopefully you can check out the fence that I'm proud of that fence. I did pretty good. And right here we got a little apple tree that gives us a little shade. I count that as part of my tiered garden. So let's go ahead and check out this view, and then I'm gonna go harvest some tomatoes. So I hope you like this raised bed tour. Raised beds, I think, have their benefits. This was here. I didn't build this raised bed. We live in the mountains. We don't really have any flat land. And basically this area was dug out for the house years ago. And thankfully somebody built this raised bed. But like I said, it was covered in mint and really bad backfilled dirt. So I had to improve the soil with mulch and horse manure and chicken bedding. And now it looks beautiful. This is the best my tiered garden has ever looked. And now that I'm a beekeeper for the last few years, this area really has a purpose, because the bees love it, the hummingbirds love it, lots of native pollinators love it. So until next time, I really hope you enjoy this video. If you do, comment below and tell me what you think about our tiered garden. And hopefully I'll see you in the next video. Put in these tomatoes. This one's for me. These are actually a couple of pawpaw plants. They grow very slow. Something else I really like about our raised bed is that we can take these flowers inside, enjoy them inside. These are lots of the gladioles that have fallen over with all of the rain. But that's great because we have plenty more. So I'm going to clean these up. I'll bring them in home, and well, I'll bring them inside because we're already home. And the family's going to get to enjoy these beautiful flowers inside the house. Mm-hmm.